Hey people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 31 of The Greatest Attorney 2 Resolved. Last time, we were poking a hole in the prosecution's argument by stating that if Andrew the screwdriver was used to kill Ass Man, then basically the screwdriver would have been warped out too, but it was not. Only for Albert Hairbrain to basically pull a Larry Butts by essentially just throwing our entire argument under the bus. And at that point, we cross-examined him, proved that basically the hypothesis had faults to it because Asman had metal glasses on, and as such, those would have, if metal couldn't be warped, then those wouldn't be warped either. So, yeah, now we're going to be going back to the courtroom where we're going to hear from witnesses. It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the press at the Grand Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? 23rd of October, 11 o'clock a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels of the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zinks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Witnesses, state... sorry, my throat's off. Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the Experimento stage. My name is Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein. I have come to see the Grand Exhibition also from my home in Bohemia. Take your shot off for me, Balloon Man. I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Sherlock Holmes believes. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing. You could tell that really made Gina's day. Gina, again. Perjury time. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. The explosion was grand. I got to see the people scream in pain from the skies. It made me feel powerful. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time, and saw events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can ya? 60 feet. About 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony to the court.
Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage.
It was an incident terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. And from this smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. To the cage hit a bell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. I didn't dare go look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
A most extraordinary collective account, I must say.
Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions.
More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called bird cage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred, directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The bird cage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. Shut off now! I should have lots of money.
Precisely who is this curious infant? I'm told that he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. An oxymoron, to be sure. Apparently he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the great exhibition.
Yeah, I'm here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school.
We will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony.
Do we really need that? When I remove my mask, this is what I look like.
Ah yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so. Great disguise then.
The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Assman on the stage, could have possibly committed the murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please.
Yes, my lord. Let me select. Hold it! Okay, yeah, I just had a giant mucus glob just now. Ugh. Don't you just hate when that happens? There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. See, all 3 of them, my bellissima bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some people pay 10 pounds for one ride. 10 pounds? That's more than my annual stipend. 20 pounds a month. That is my pocket money. Royals have all the luck. I got up there for free. I did. I played the old I work for Her Majesty's police card, you know. Detectives have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though? Because if I had too many in the skies, they could crash into each other.
The operators of the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator managing a particular area.
See, answers on the public speculation stage is the most profitable. The other ambassadors, they hate me.
Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arguments for the balloon rides at the exhibition. Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident.
Right, I can fill you in there, my lord.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air? Yup. Ain't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer is a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyways, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything! We saw everything, cause we were up above it all. That dodgy code climbing into the cage, and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was this massive bang and the cage disappeared, just like that.
You are describing the moment the subject's body was decompressed by the electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it, but then there was another bang right in my ear. I looked around, and there was a huge, great fireball right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing there before.
Excuse me.
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name. Yes. What was that again? Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein. Just the 4 names, then? The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestray's last remark, perhaps? Oi, get it right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestray. Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? That is not what I saw. Oh? Ja, there was a second explosion, and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. But I'm sure. Which is what I said in it. 1 minute there was nothing there, and the next a massive explosion. My teacher at the elementary school says that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable! Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Yes, we are, Ryunosuke. Yes, we are. We are a very jovial people. Just before the second explosion happened, next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon? Eh? You what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did, I thought, and you can't say I did. I will complain to the council, and I will cry and scream. I will ask to talk to the manager. I will become the first Karan. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say that it's a lie. That is not allowed. Playing the bling royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police.
In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony in the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
Hold it!
A green balloon, do you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am sure. I am a proud Bohemian prince. All these questions are making me boring. I think you mean bored. Ack! English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logistico. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. Madai! I will have my army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky! All of them! And this is and that, boys and girls, boys and girls, is how the great rivalry between the Bohemians and the hot air balloon operators began. Here you are, your highness.
If only all international incidents were so easily resolved.
Yes, post a get a balloon. Yeah, get some balloon vendor outside the UN. That will solve all of the world's problems.
Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps you could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Loon?
No, I did not see the explosion myself, however.
Hold it!
I'm just gonna press everything just to get some good commentary out of it. Did you actually see it happen? No, in reality I did not. I saw Arthur hit the tower. There was a grand confusion there around the stage. I ran to see what had happened. Yeah, I was terrorized by the idea that when my balloons had crashed, I was not going to get my third strike. I suppose they are his livelihood. But when I looked up to the sky, all my precious balloons were still there. I saw it though. I saw it slam into the tower after all. I am a detective now. Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade. That's what I like to hear. Okay, I don't think we're gonna get anything good from this point, so basically all we gotta do is head back to this first one, and then basically present the green cloth. You gotta get Godfrey to, you have to get Gots to tell you about basically how he saw the green balloon explode, and now we get this. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosions, it would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. I think it might be. See, part of a balloon, a bent piece of the fabric of the envelope. Sorry? The envelope. Pardon, that is the rise around part of the balloon, which was filled with hot air. It is made from a very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. But as I thought, this piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! I'm not reading this. Yes, the mumbles.
Objection!
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage. The point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon, causing the balloon to explode. Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts.
This I cannot accept. Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I am a liar. That person's died in a balloon incident.
There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. You don't need to get fired up, my Italian balloon seller friend. The victim was the sole fatality that day.
That's alright, and I approve it. But Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is not plausible. You're saying it's impossible? Why?
This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Hey!
Objection!
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have been known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon.
I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear out the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition.
Grazie, my lord. As I said, Balsa Loon is no lie. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe! But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? The operators at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons are the red and blue zigzag stripes anyways.
So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you.
Si, exactamente. If you even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to serve the land of Bohemia. And then Van Zeeks.
In that case, if you need a lawyer, I am more than happy to step up for the job.
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war. All out war. Dance for me. What happened to all out war?
Mr. Loon certainly does appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that the testimony evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth.
And then in the Ace Attorney timeline, yes, and then in the history of the Ace Attorney universe, there are the Great Balloon Wars.
Think long and hard on that, my learned friend.
The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Okay. Actually, yeah, I'll press every statement. I know the statements that we have to press. I'm just going through them just for good commentary. But yeah, I actually remember this case because basically this is a good case. This is actually one of the better case 3s in the series. Up there with basically Recipe for along with Recipe for Turnabout, the Inherited Turnabout, as well as Right of Turnabout. Right of Turnabout was also pretty good. You couldn't have just forgot one, maybe? They are like my children, Signor. I might not notice if I was given 100 rentals and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 of those balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive?
I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons and 3 organ box monkeys. It would appear no mistake has been made then.
Surely Miss Lestrade could have been sent for such a menial task. What, me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he'd have a go himself if that was the case. This case is wonderful.
Hold it!
It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? You an idiot! Sorry? That is like asking, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright, and a balloon flies because it flies. What else? That must be Italian for I don't know.
There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift placing a gas that is lighter than air.
See, and my balloons are filled with a magical gas, I believe.
Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord!
And then the Ace Attorney timeline. And then the Ace Attorney timeline. Let me just check something just to be sure. Let me just check something.
Let me just check something. Yeah, and then basically about 30 years in the future. Yeah, and then several years in the future, Hairbrain tries his next thing. He invents a giant dirigible in Germany. As you can see, I have invented the greatest dirigible. It is a giant dirigible that I will name the Hindenburg. And then basically, the Hindenburg incident. Oh no, not again! Yeah, I just checked the... Yeah, 60... Yeah, basically 60-year-old Hairbrain. Maroc! Something happened again. Let me guess. You're behind the Hindenburg, aren't you? How do you know? Good lord.
I do not permit the smoke of cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like a fire.
Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode.
What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion! Explosion! I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat! None of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof.
All right, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that exploded?
Hold it!
The fabric argument. I was surprised to find that piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues?
Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up off the ground, me. I pick out pockets. Always works out better diving into people's pockets instead.
So much for the new career path.
Hey, I'm the same, Gina. I just roll with a different crew. Mind you, the boss was on his and hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish off the floor. Thing is, though, the cage went crashing into the Crystal Tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigating was going on.
Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence.
Cora, listen here. You stumbled across a big balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world.
Pardon?
Well, you ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. Like I said, I'm a dirty cop and I play by my own rules.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there?
Yeah, some of the cobes were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job, but the old contraption didn't keel over, eh?
I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Grayson can expect repercussions. His pay is cut.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, eh?
The man's sole pleasure. That's all he has in this world, Gina. That's all he has in the world. His pay's getting cut. Iris is gonna make it where his character in the Sherlock Holmes stories experiences a blunder, and now this just really. What? Gregson's life is sad now.
Nada hit matters. That's scrap a balloon envelope means nothing. Niente.
This. Yes.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong?
Si, signore. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse.
And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakable from a balloon.
Well, I do not know how that can be.
For the sake of argument, let's say that green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that happened on the day in question.
Why not?
There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition?
Si, expectamente. As the signor says, it's not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little Ragozo from Bohemia is mistaken at what he saw.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It's Master Rehab got sick 6 months, arms dying! It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but the change is nothing. If you do not have evidence, Ragazzo, I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments. Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple explanation, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious.
What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemia exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot ear shutter, the balloon, the Ben's bathroom, a guy defecating on the sidewalk, that vampire prosecutor guy throwing a rock at some foreigners. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment. Did you take a picture of that? Yeah, one picture! Really? You did take one? But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course! And then you will see that I am not lying! That I really did see a green balloon! Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that's not my fault! It's the photo system and person who made the camera! Fear! That is one very bohemian sounding cry. Fear!
Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence.
The photograph has been entered into the court record. It's not my fault. It's about the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Then, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. Then I pressed the shutter release. There was this loud bang, and the hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph had changed nothing. I could not give a flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another, fourth balloon. But Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, this is the one right here. Okay, where are you photographed?
Objection.
Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else. Something crucially important.
What?
Well, until the next episode. Anyways, I really appreciate that you going to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back with the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. Without, see you next time. Bye.